Well, hi there, eager eaters. Are you ready for your soul food this week? Well, here we are at Suzanne's, where that's all we dispense, just food to make your insides feel well. Well, that's regular food too, isn't it? Food for your spirit, spiritual food. Today we're going to be talking about how to get to the Garden of Eden. Last week we told you about the Garden of Eden, circa 1983, going with the flow to the Garden of Eden today. So today we're going to tell you how to get there. And I'm looking forward to my dear friend and fellow inhabitant of this particular Garden of Eden, Kenny Richards, will be my guest. We'll be talking to him soon, but first let's talk a little ourselves. Let's talk about what we're doing here. Well, what we're doing here is figuring out how all of us can live in the Garden of Eden. Seems to be a good time for asking those questions. It's an urgent time for asking those questions. It's Garden of Eden or bust. So we have this little experiment going on at my house with some wonderful people who are really looking at how we can be the most wonderful together. And it so happens that this program is brought to you by Garden of Eden Productions, so it all sort of fits. I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the different kinds of thoughts about what Gardens of Edens might be, or to tell you at least that there are different thoughts. It's kind of all the same spirit of peace and love, but different people's version of what peace and love might be. There have been different ones from time immemorial. For instance, my friend Kitty, who named me the Wiz of Is, which I like a lot when I'm good, she said to me after one of the shows that I did, she said, gosh, you said something about mantras not be chanting and repeating mantras not being wonderful. I think they're wonderful. I get very high on them. I have wonderful. She started telling me about all these wonderful experiences she has chanting and what have you. And I know that's true. I've had those experiences also. But what I meant on the show was I'm interested in having those experiences all the time. That's my particular sense of the Garden of Eden. That every moment should be enjoyable. We should enjoy every moment. That every moment should be a sense of being full of spirit, not just life is life and now I'm going to get high. That's all I meant by that. And sure, if you want to go on if you want to go to Disneyland, chant. Go in the inner, go on an inner ride, for sure. I used to have a guru for a little while, till I graduated, and he had a real different version of Garden of Eden than I, which is kind of why I went on to mine. He called his freedom, and it was about everybody being very self-contained and not being affected by other bodies, and feeling totally at peace, at one, ecstatic within oneself. Well, I don't disagree, but it's not my main diet. My main diet is keep my heart open. Whatever anybody is doing, get in there, under it, around it, through it, and love it. I'm not talking about people who hit me over the head. I'm talking about life, regular life. Keep my heart open to all the things, all the imperfections in people, all the places where people are still struggling. Keep my heart open and love them all. Enjoy every moment in a real passionate way, not, that's just my version. Some people like it in a very sort of beatific way or I don't know, different ways, but I like it passionate myself. Eric Burns, who's a famous father of transactional analysis, talked about most people being caught in a situation where they're either waiting for Santa Claus or they're waiting for rigor mortis. Now, those people are either hoping the future is going to be good or knowing it's going to be lousy. And what about right now? Well, all of our philosophies, all of our consciousness philosophies, enlightenment philosophies, all of them are real speaking about the right now. And then there are different ways and different styles. And that's what Kenny's going to talk to us about. He's got an idea that we can have nirvana now. I wonder if he can cook it up in 10 or 15 minutes. Well, let me first of all do something that will introduce him some more and will serve as our messages from Central Department this week, where we go to wisdom from elsewhere, from when people are very wise. If you're ever very wise, by the way, why don't you write it down and then send me what you wrote? I'm collecting. I write everything down that everybody says that's smart, and I collect it and I edit it, and my friend Max and I do that together. Max, who produces this show, and if I'm naughty, you'll hear from Max. No, Max, I don't want to hear anything. And then you can send it to me, and on my nickel, I will be delighted to send you our edited version of the notes and tune you into where we're tuned into, if this is interesting to you, if you like to be tuned into this wavelength. I'm looking for all you who are, by the way. It's one of my main purposes in doing this show. I'm creating a playing field so that those of us who think alike can play together, because I like to play.
Well, you know, Suzanne.
Ah, yes, he speaks.
At least Eric Byrne gave us a choice. A lot of people really don't believe that they have a choice when it comes to having nirvana.
Yes, it's their way or no way. Right, that's what you're talking about.
And a good example of that is Woody Allen. Woody Allen's view on life is there are two things possible. It's either miserable or horrible.
Yeah, right.
And you either choose one or the other.
Right.
You know,
and make a lot of money on it. Do you really think he thinks that? Poor soul. Come on, Woody, sit here. We'll work it out.
Well, we're trying to get him for the show to work on him.
Okay, Woody. Call me up. My number will be on the end. It'll flash on at the end. Get your pencils, by the way. You can call me up, too. I want you to. I mean, if you like what I'm doing. So anyway, I want to read to you from... Oh, no. I want to do abracadabra and take my message from Central here. Abracadabra. I have here A Course in Miracles. And a lot of you know what that is. It's a 3-volume work, and this is the Manual for Teachers. And it talks about teachers of God. It identifies, by the way, all of us as teachers of God. It's like that's what we're doing here, is to learn what we're doing here, which makes us a teacher of God. But some of us know it better than others. And this book is specifically talking to the people who are prepared, who are ready now. And it talks about what that means, so you can identify yourself, so you can know what your work is. Okay, so I'll read you a little bit from it. And by the way, this is channeled. Do you know what channeled is? Lots of you do. Somebody who couldn't have known this listened, closed their eyes, listened, however they did it, and wrote it down. Something was coming through from something that knew.
Just like this show. This is channel 2.
Speak, Suzanne, speak. Okay. It seems as if the teacher and the learner are separated, the teacher giving something to the learner rather than to himself. That's what it seems like. Further, the act of teaching is regarded as a special activity. This is in the world they're talking about, in which one engages only a relatively small proportion at one time. The Course in Miracles, on the other hand, emphasizes that to teach is to learn. So the teacher and learner are the same. It also emphasizes that teaching is a constant process. It goes on every moment of the day. I sure know that. You know, anything I say is not to impress you, it's so that I can learn it. If I impress you, I have learned it. Good. A teacher of God is anyone who chooses to be one. His qualifications consist solely in this. Somehow, somewhere, he has made a deliberate choice in which he did not see his interests as apart from someone else's. That's beautiful, isn't it? You get that you're the same as other people, that you're one. And that qualifies you to come in to the magic. I hate these hises, by the way, but what can I do? You know, it was a soul that just didn't know about women's lib. What can I tell you? It's hard to change those things. Okay, so all differences among the sons of God are temporary. Nevertheless, in time, it can be said that the advanced teachers of God have the following characteristics. And mostly I want to tell you about the first one, because it's the one that underlies all the others. It's almost the only one, except they go on and they amplify from here. Trust. This is the foundation on which their ability to fulfill their function rests. The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them, but not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe. When this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. Who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given him? And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? That's not to diminish us as individuals. It's just to acknowledge that the individual open to the Spirit is the power of the universe. And I think that maybe I'm going to read you one or two other little things. Joy is another of the qualifications for being a teacher of God. Joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. Honesty. All other traits of God's teachers rest on trust. Once that's been achieved, the others cannot fail to follow. Only the trusting can afford honesty, for only they can see its value. Also, tolerance. God's teachers do not judge. To judge is to be dishonest. For to judge is to assume a position you do not have. Who says, you can stand over somebody? Harm is impossible for God's teachers. This is about gentleness. They need gentleness. They can neither harm nor be harmed. Harm is the outcome of judgment. It is the dishonest act that follows a dishonest thought. It is a verdict of guilt upon a brother, and therefore on oneself. It is the end of peace and the denial of learning. It demonstrates the absence of God's curriculum and its replacement by insanity. That's if you're harsh with people, if that's your reality. Don't do it. So anyway, I thought that would be a nice introduction from this beautiful, beautiful book, which has that ring of truth about it. You just know when you read this book, something new that was speaking these thoughts. Gives you shivers up your spine, Well, my friend Kenny gives me shivers up my spine all the time. And I would like to bring him on now to get a mini course in how to get everything instantly. Okay, Kenny, you're on. Well, I'm going to relinquish my whiz of is and become your cosmic cheerleader for a while, because I got another whiz of is sitting next to me, and I'm excited about him. Yay! It is your Cosmic Fuel Pump's high-octane hit of the week, where we bring you something wonderful that's not me. And this week, it's Kenny Richards. Kenny Richards is one of my family. He lives in the Garden of Eden with me, and with a bunch of other people. And he is, I think of him as the Richard Simmons of the spiritual world, where he is whipping us all into our ideal internal shape. He is a great explainer of how everything can be perfect instantly, and he has about 15 minutes to get us to Nirvana now. Kenny Richards. All right,
Suzanne.
You want to sit on my lap, Kenny?
Sit on your lap. I am on your lap, Suzanne.
You're on my lap. Oh, good.
You're the cosmic lap. So that is our motto, is to
Are you finished yet?
Finished yet.
Give him a chance, Susan.
Our motto is Nirvana now.
Yeah.
It is to be contented, to be happy, to be peaceful in the moment, to be the person that you want to be simply by being it right within the moment. All of the practices of all of the religions, before you were saying that what a wonderful time that we live in, that through the medium of books and things that we have seen, imagine how much we've experienced in our life compared to what people experienced 100 years ago, the different branches of knowledge that are now available to us within this world. Our basic premise is that there is something that can be experienced as the spirit. Very simple. There's only two philosophies in existence: philosophy, religion, books. Everyone makes everything very, very complicated. If everything can be made very simple, so that the intelligence understands just what it is that you're meant to experience in anything that you're doing, then to experience oneself as eternal part of the universe, and to know how to act as an eternal part of the universe is very simple. It doesn't take years of meditation. You just have to know what it is that you're going for. So at this time in the history of the world, it's possible to gain knowledge of Taoism, Chinese philosophy, Taoist philosophy, Tai Chi, what it means to move one with the Tao, or Buddhist philosophy to attain nirvana. Nirvana means the use of intelligence to negate all things that one is not. We are assuming that there is something called the spirit. These are the only two philosophies in existence. One philosophy says that sometime in the primordial muck, a few billion years ago, A bunch of chemicals got together and suddenly had molecules, and suddenly, poof, you had the first cell, you had life. And what you and me is nothing more than the combination of chemicals from that one cell that went to the next in a multicellular organism and evolved down to what you are. And then what you is, or me is, or a tree is, or anything is nothing but the body. Nothing but the machine that moves the electrical chemical impulses, that you're in a state of constant change, and then when your body dies, void, black, nothing. The other philosophy says, aside from just the thing that you see, there's something else. That something else is called the spirit. The spirit is what makes something alive, the plant, different from something dead, the table. To experience oneself as the eternal spirit, to know I have existed forever in the past. That means forever I have been able to see, I've been able to hear, I've been able to taste and smell and touch and have emotions. That is me, and I shall exist forever into the future. That means at the point of my death, I can still hear, I can still see, I can still smell. To experience that part of oneself, that eternal aspect of oneself, is what every philosophy, every path, everything that anyone does, and they're all the same. They're all the same, just like yoga. In yoga, people do hatha yoga. Your exercises, you do one exercise to another exercise to another exercise. In Tai Chi, you do some physical type of movement like this. Nobody knows why they do that. No one explains, just like in a Catholic church. You've been to a Catholic church?
Oh, all rituals.
All rituals.
Why? Who
If
knows?
they explained why, that's my
You
business.
know.
I know why. All right, it's very simple. If you know the experience you're meant to get to, whether it's hatha yoga or Tai Chi, the Catholic church service is the easiest to explain. And the opening ceremony, when you go into Catholic church, you take a little water, you splash it on your face, you make a little cross like this, you kneel down a little, you say in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, amen. Why? Does anybody have any idea? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The first experience of God is to experience eternity. Well, to be in eternity, you must be eternally right now, not in the future, not in the past. So when you're going to a church, what are you thinking about? Where are you going out with for lunch? The fight you had with your mother at breakfast, checking out the girl walking in next to you. The mind is not supposed to think of those things. The mind is supposed to become totally free. So what do? You take a little water, splash it in your face, wake yourself up. You take the kundalini, the psychic energy that links us with this world through the three lower sensory organs, the chakras, and you close it down. You put all your energy into yourself. You break your links with the past, present, and future and other beings within this world. You open up your four higher chakras, your focal psychic energy points. You'll kneel down, straightens your spinal column so the kundalini, the energy, can rise to your spiritual centers. You do a little prayer that you've done 1,000,000 times, 1,000 times, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen, which captures the mind from the future or from the past and focuses you on eternity. Then what do? You do hatha yoga. You go in a church service, you stand up, you sit down, you kneel down, you stand up, you sit down again. Any routine bodily activities such as hatha yoga, tai chi, standing up, combined with breath control. Breath control in yoga is called pranayama. Sit there and breathe. Or tai chi, you breathe slowly with what you're doing. In a church, you sing back and forth. What is that meant to accomplish? When body and mind become one. What does that mean? Everyone says these sayings, when mind and body become one. Who knows what they mean? It's very simple. When your mind is no longer in the future or the past, you're into what you're doing, then you can experience the total separation of your consciousness from your body. At that point, you're eternal. That's nirvana. The first nirvana is to experience always the eternal moment. From that eternal moment, you say, wait a second. I'm not my body. In hatha yoga, you see my body's moving. I'm not moving. In Tai Chi, you see it's going like this. I'm not really in it. I'm really out of it. I'm not really even here. I've all this time thought that what my body is doing, moving from place to place, is me. But I am not. I'm simply the watcher, eternally, of all these things. Not just I can remember one life or two lives, millions. I've been here forever and forever into the future. That's nirvana. The first state of experience. Many people, when they experience that, think that they're God. Oh my God, I'm not really here. I feel oneness with all living things. I've existed. How wonderful that I am. That's the neophyte stage. Neophyte stage, the first nirvana, is simply to experience one's own eternality as totally separate from the material body. As the one who can see, the one who can hear, the one who can taste and touch. Then you have, well, what do I do with my mind? Oh my God, I have all these thoughts going on, this one and this one. How do I know which thoughts are me amidst all of this? How do I know which is the thought projections of other people, and so on and so forth? Simply by staying in the present and say, well, for the time being, none of these thoughts are me. Let me see which ones I want to keep and which ones are not. Like sitting in a movie. And all this time you thought that what was going on to the people in the movie was happening to you. And all of a sudden you say, oh, this is not happening to me. What has happened to me? I've thought I was born here. This has happened. My mother this. My girlfriend left me here. None of this has really happened to me. I am the eternal spirit. From that point, it is possible to be peaceful.
What a relief.
Totally peaceful in one's existence. People say, well, I can't be like that all the time. And I say, don't be like that all the time. 2 minutes from now, worry about all your problems and think about your plans for the future and feel bad about the things that happened to you in the past. For just 1 minute, sit down and relax. All right, take a break and just be contented. That's the value of mantras. Even the mantra, Om. The mantra Om, you get to where you hear the air conditioning going Om. At which time, simply by listening to the sounds of nature around you, you can stay fixed in the eternal present. So these things are very simple. The process of spiritual realization and staying permanently in that consciousness is very simple if anyone would explain it to anybody. Right?
You're such a good explainer, King.
Thank you.
I love you, King.
It's taken me a long time of having to explain this in a very simple way to many people to where it made sense. Because years ago when I started on my spiritual path, everything contradicted one another and everybody hated one another. Especially the time I spent in India. Everyone said, well, this was God and this is God. God has no form and no name, or this is the only God you should worship and you must do this and you must do that. I said, well, this doesn't make much sense to me. Let me see what will happen if I follow everyone's path. Since no one explains to me why to do any of these things, what will happen? And after doing them all for so many years, they started to all make sense to me. To where anyone who comes and says, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm following this particular person, and we sit down and we do breathing like this, and then we meditate on this inner sound current. I know exactly what they're getting to, exactly what experience, even though normally teachers, this is called withholding spiritual information. That's the misery of the world, is that the religions and philosophies of the world have withheld spiritual information from people.
Tell us.
Tell us that. That's what I'm telling you.
Let's see, we have 6 more minutes.
6 more minutes of it. All right? So then after the initial experience of eternity, I am the eternal spirit. That's like an illusion in this world. We think that we are the leaf on the tree, which is not part of the tree. We are temporary. I'm born, I die. This world's here for me. Let me see what I can get. And we grub for this, we grub for that, to pull things around us. It's like the leaf on the tree trying to put water on itself. As soon as you experience your eternal, at that point, you're eternally linked with the entire cosmos. People talk of attaining cosmic consciousness. That is cosmic consciousness. As soon as you are eternal and experience it, well, I'm eternally part of everything. Now what do you do?
I know one thing you do.
What do I do?
Is not do violence to yourself. Is it fit to talk about that here? I like that so
yes,
much.
We can talk about ahimsa. Ahimsa, nonviolence. To be happy in this world requires that you have a realistic vision of what this world is like. Every situation, there's some complication. There's some hassle. You drive out in the street and someone pulls out in front of you. If you get upset, you can have a heart attack. That's the nature of this world. So to not suffer within this world is called ahimsa, non-violence. To not cause suffering to anyone by what you do, or by what you say, or even by what you think. But my principle of ahimsa has always been basically non-violence to me. All right? I hate to suffer. If I have anything physically wrong with me, I'll do anything to get better. All right? If I feel any emotional anxiety, I'll immediately sit down with my mind and say, all right, mind, what are you doing that you should not be doing? What should I be doing in my life that I'm not? What am I doing that's wrong? Because I see that any fears, anxieties, and so on are my mind indicating to me, well, something's wrong. All right? And I consult with my mind. Is this some illusion I should get rid of? Is this some psychic projections from somewhere else? Is this something in the past I have not worked out so that I feel no anxiety or fear or difficulty or complication within my mind? And in terms of people, in terms of relating to people within this world, everyone always comes to me and says, when will I find my one true love? And I say, wait a second. If someone can instill love within you, it's your own love that you're feeling. It's just that you want to feel that all the time. Right, yeah. So, rather than looking for someone who inspires that in you, look to see whom you inspire. Look to see who is attracted to you. And just open your heart. Just open your heart and give your love to people. Then you'll be filled with love. That's why Jesus said, forgive your enemies. Don't hold emotional attachments. How do you stay in the present moment? When you say, oh, fine, attain nirvana now. Okay, well, here I am right now. For 10 minutes, I'm sitting, relaxing, and just listening and being peaceful. But I know my mind's like the wind that's going to go here and there. How do I stay here? Very simple. The past is dead. Whether it's 5 minutes ago, a lifetime ago, or a trillion years ago, the past is dead. That's why Jesus said, forgive your enemies. Then you don't have to think of them anymore.
Oh, good idea.
All right? People try and go through psychology, weed out all the endless thoughts of their mind. How can I get this? How can I get that? It's all for being able to manipulate and control better into the future. To be in the moment, you surrender the future. You're going to have plans of what you want to do and how you want to live, and you're doing the best you can at the moment. Whatever will come in the future, you surrendered. It will come. And the past is also dead, and you live within the moment. And what do you do within the moment? Be creative.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah. Surrender to reality.
Surrender to reality.
We used
That was
on
our
another
other
show,
mantra.
right? Because here it is. So what are you going to do? Fight and be miserable?
That's a wonderful step towards nirvana, is forgive your enemies. Isn't forgiveness divine in itself?
Well, because you're the one that's carrying
Right.
around the hard feeling, you know. It doesn't do you much good.
Right. That's the whole process, is then what do you think within the thoughts of the mind? How to fill the mind with joyfulness and creativity rather than with anxieties and fears. Simply requires surrendering the past, surrendering the future, and trying to be of the greatest good that you can within the moment.
Oh, that's wonderful.
All right?
That's how we're all living, folks, you know. That's what our little Garden of Eden's about.
That is
Oh,
the
you're
Garden
so
of Eden.
good,
Thank
Kenny. You did it
Suzanne.
right. You know, we're about to run out of time.
All right, darling.
We do have enough time, however, to talk about giving a homework assignment of a mantra. And I think that all hung together real well, so it's a good time to kind of encourage people to practice it themselves. Do you think Nirvana Now is a good one? We could give them
Nirvana
enjoy
Now
every
is
moment.
nice. They're the same thing.
They are the same thing.
Nirvana
Son of a
Now.
gun. The show works. It ties together.
Uh-huh. Nirvana Now, or enjoy every moment. Whenever the mind would wander into the past, when you're feeling bad about the past or something, or you're living in the future with anxiety for it, simply say Nirvana Now. I'll feel bad in 10 minutes from now and I'll worry about the future tomorrow. For right now, let me simply enjoy my moment and be of some love to someone. All right.
Okay, so then when things go rotten for people, when people are miserable, when people are feeling like they're going to lose it, they just say to themselves,
Nirvana
Nirvana
now.
now.
Nirvana now.
right, why not?
Enjoy this moment.
Okay, which is, apropos of that, I have a little closing statement from a wonderful book. And you would have to be in touch with me probably to find out how to get this book, although it does turn up in esoteric bookstores. But it's another one of those channeled books where somebody didn't know what he was writing and just wrote it down. And this one, so happens, the person he was listening to was Jesus. Jesus was speaking. And the book's called The Magian Gospel of Brother Yeshua. And here's the quote. And this is Jesus speaking. Live not in the limitations of time, but in the intimations of immortality. Go onward and inward. Seek understanding and the light. And above all, be joyful. Now, could you get a better send-off into the day, the moment, the forever than that? It's a wonderful book, by the way, and if you'd like to know where to get it, just be in touch with me. Also be in touch with me if you'd like to have a Suzanne party. We talked about that last week. If you'd like to have your friends go get together and watch a tape, I'd like to come too. Let me know. Have a good week. Bye. Call to find out when the Cosmic Fuel Pump will be on next week. And call or write if you want me to send you a copy of my written notes.